He goes, if that had sparked, you probably would have leveled half the block. So while the car business is fun, in sales, you're really only as good as your last month. So I've been working on creating more sustainable means of generating revenue, and one of those is an automotive storage facility. And that goes hand in hand with the sales business as well. So especially if people use lack of space as an excuse not to buy a car, I can certainly clear that hurdle very quickly. One might think that the storage business is an easy way to just collect passive income and go sit on the beach, but it is definitely not the case, especially when you're dealing with machinery and things that have flammable and explosive liquids in them on a regular basis or as part of their normal operation. It's a constant battle to keep weather and the elements out and rodents, and to store the vehicles properly and keep humidity to the right level and temperatures and all sorts of things like that, so that the cars, especially the ones that are in there for longer term, are preserved properly. So in addition to cars, we have a few RVs and boats and trailers and all that. And we would think that the greatest hazard would be all the fuel tanks in cars, but those are really only a hazard if the whole building catches fire. And I've told the fire department on repeated occasions during their inspections that if we ever do have a fire, just stand down the street and hold your hoses, because there's a lot of fuel in said building, and we're all insured, and I don't want any of them to get hurt. But there's one occasion where I came into work one day and checked the storage building, and somebody said that they thought they smelled gas, like natural gas, when they walked in the building. I said, okay, well, that's not good. And I opened up the door and was hit by a pretty potent smell and said, okay, yeah, I think we got a gas leak in here. So I left the door open and was walking around and smelled it, I guess, the most strongly by the heater, which was a wall unit up by the ceiling. I said, okay, well, I'll call the Dominion and have them come over and shut the gas off and send a tech and all that. And stupidly, I opened the garage door to allow the gas to clear out, which I realized later was a really, really dumb idea, because it's metal wheels against metal tracks, and if anything sparked, it would have set the whole building afire. But I wasn't thinking in the moment, really. So Dominion comes by and they send a gas guy by and they shut off the gas, and he climbs up, not even scared, to the heater that's supposedly leaking, and is checking around, testing. He doesn't find any gas leak. So I was like, okay, that's weird. So I'm walking by, and there's an RV just to the left of me, and the heater's up here. So I'm just kind of walking by him, and I hear this hissing sound. I'm like, okay, well, I hear a leak, but it doesn't sound like it's coming from up there. So I walk by again, and I isolate where I'm hearing it from, and it's low down. I look under the RV, and it's their propane tank. I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. And it had been leaking all night, because apparently somebody had sabotaged their tank or their line the day before when it was out. It's a medical RV that goes out on site every day, and so somebody, cut the line or did something. Essentially, the entire propane tank had emptied into our warehouse, which is 12,000 square feet. Like, you could smell it in both buildings 100 feet away from this RV. So I said, okay, well, we gotta get this out of the air. So I grabbed a couple fans that we had and called up the fire department and real casually just said, hey, you guys have big fans that we can borrow, right? They go, yeah, but what for? It's like, no big deal. Just had a propane leak in our building. Want to see if you could drop off a couple fans. Yeah, we're gonna have to come by and help you out. So they bring out half the department and a couple big fire trucks and all their fans, and start clearing stuff out. And it wasn't enough, so I went down to the local equipment rental place and was getting all of their high flow fans to try to assist with clearing everything out. And I was making casual conversation with the clerk down there and kind of told her what was going on. And she was really interested in the fact that firefighters were at my shop. And especially given that one of them was pretty built and hunky. And she was getting all hot and bothered by the fact that the firefighters were there, and made me tell her everything about what was going on, and was joking about coming down. And I don't remember what was said, and it probably wasn't appropriate, but I found that highly entertaining. So when I got back, I told the firefighters that when they were done, there was a lady down at the equipment rental place that might need some assistance. Anyway, so we finally got everything cleared out, and they told me I was an idiot for opening up the door, which I already knew. But we're all standing around, and I'm thinking this probably isn't like a good situation if something goes wrong. I mean, all it takes is one spark. But I didn't really know the extent of how bad it was. But when we were done and everything was safe, one of the firefighters just kind of casually looked over. He goes, "Yeah, that was a large bomb waiting to happen." He goes, "If that had sparked, you probably would have leveled half the block." It's like, great. Good to know. I guess I wouldn't have had to worry too much about an insurance claim in that scenario. It wasn't my first experience with a gas leak, because when we had first purchased the property, a company was doing excavation, and he called me. I wasn't there, and he called me and said, "Hey, are you nearby?" I go, "No." He goes, "Good. Don't come by the shop for a while." I was like, "Well, why?" He goes, "No big deal. I just hit a gas line." Okay, good. Yeah, I won't come by for a while. And it was kind of funny, because the acronym for the Ohio Utility System or whatever is OOPS. And the reason he had hit a gas line is because the OOPS guy had sent him drawings of where the gas lines were on the property so he could avoid them. It's what every excavator has to do when they're digging. Call before you dig, know before you go, whatever. And they were like 15 feet off. So he said the gas line was here, and it was actually over here, which was right where he was digging. So it's ironic that their name is Oops, because they made a really big oops that almost blew up the block another time. But thankfully, everything worked out. We got the propane tank all sealed back up, got the building cleared up. Nobody died, no cars were harmed. So yeah, it would have been a complex insurance claim with not only the dealership cars, but storage cars, and probably $10 million worth of cars in total, and would have been a lot of sorting out of insurance claims with other people, along with a life insurance claim for sure.
We all love Amazon, but most of us have had that experience where you buy something with a lot of glowing reviews that shows up and is just a piece of garbage, and it wasn't what you thought you were buying. Unfortunately, Amazon can be full of bad actors and fake reviews and things that just don't live up to what you think is going to come in a day or two after you order it. That's why New on Amazon has been developed. It was developed by Patrick Kupolari, a friend of the channel, a good storyteller who's talked about BMWs and McLaren F1s and things like that, and he's a huge e-commerce expert, and you can learn more about that on his YouTube channel. But he built a site of trusted sellers, well-reviewed products, and things that he actually knows will show up looking the way that you want them to. And so it's a great way to filter out some of the noise and some of the bad products that you might otherwise discover on Amazon. So check out New on Amazon at the link in the description below, and thank them for supporting VINwiki this month.